Welcome to the Principal Podcast, where we talk about how the best professional services firms grow. Whether you're looking to scale your firm or learn from the stories of founders and leaders who've done it, you're in the right place. Join us as we interview the best leaders in professional services. Let's get on with the show. Kristi, welcome to the Principal Podcast. Happy to
Thanks
have you.
for having me. Yeah, excited
It's
to
my
talk.
pleasure. Let's jump straight into it. What's the story, Kristi? What got you into this whole thing in the first place?
Yeah, it's been a wild ride. Well, I spent a lot of years consulting kind of on the side and working for so many different industries, nonprofits, arts. I was in the music industry. I worked in medical and healthcare and real estate, really enjoying all of those. But I made a transition to becoming a business owner. I had started to help a high net worth individual with his businesses, and I was able to help him sell a company, and so I had private experience in selling that company. And when I decided to get married and relocate, I decided that sorry. I decided that
No, no,
I wanted to become a business owner, and I was having experience in real estate. And I then met the owners of J&E Business Group, um, who were interested in having me acquire their business. And because of my background and experience in so many different facets, from marketing and sales, business development, project management, it was just the right fit for me.
love that for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All this leading to you starting J&E, business group.
Yeah.
What's the problem that you help people solve now? Like, what is it that you're helping them achieve
Yeah,
exactly?
so we are a small business brokerage. We're helping businesses in the small business sector, typically under a valuation of 6 million. Those individuals often do not know what their company is worth. They might be overwhelmed at the process of selling their business. They probably don't have somebody already designated to take over their company, so they don't know who would buy it. And we really help with answering all of those things, right? We do the valuation for them. We educate them on the process. We learn about their business. We identify buyers that are right for them. We once we find those and we pre-qualify those buyers, we also walk them through the process from start to finish. And that's like project managing the deal essentially for the sellers. We're really sitting in like a dual seat, working with the buyer and the seller to bring a smooth transaction.
So businesses under 6 million, is there a specific niche, vertical, location that you're looking at, or is it pretty much any small business below $6 million?
It's a wide range of businesses. So my company, the previous owners started out in service-based and trades-based businesses. So a lot of automotive centers, lawn care, HVAC companies, so the trade-based businesses. And we've really expanded into service-based. We're doing tax prep and books of business and more professional services. So it really runs the gamut. But it is that small business sector that isn't going to necessarily sell with a merger and acquisition specialist.
Curveball question right off the bat for you. How do you value a business making less than $6 million a year? Not that I think they are worthless. Obviously, they are not. But at this stage, what we also see is that they are usually very owner reliant, right?
Yeah.
Because it's basically below 6 million. Well, it's true up until 3 we've seen, but it's like $1 to $3 million. You take the owner out. Not that the company is not worth much more anymore, but like they take on a huge part of the work, of the brand, of the. So How do you
Yeah,
value a
so
business below 6 million?
things on that. So a higher company, a larger company with a lot of management in place is going to be evaluated on an EBITDA process, which is what in a lot of accountants, right, use that process if they have a corporate background. The small business sector uses seller's discretionary earnings model, which is a little bit different and allows for more add backs to the value of the business. But that is a really good question. You just kind of brought up something secondary, which is super important for people who want to sell. And that is that the owner really does need to extract themselves from the company as much as possible to create as much value for the buyers, right? So that is something that we can help with. And we do have a lot of conversations about with different buyers. And you're right, the smaller or the companies that are typically under $1 million, I see that being more of a struggle to them. That being said, there's still value in small businesses. There's value in single owner operators being interested, for example, in their books of business, in their reputation, in their small team, all kinds of reasons that they might still have value.
That does make a lot of sense. How do you, so I'm thinking about myself running a small business, less than $6 million a year. We're so busy. We have a gazillion things to do, lots of iron on the fire. How, what has worked for you, Kristi, to market, brand, get in front of potential sellers, potential buyers, make the match between the two? I'm not talking about sales just yet. I'm really talking about what has worked for you at J&E to get in front of those business owners and make them see and believe that you can potentially help them. What has worked for you marketing wise?
Sure. So formerly, my former owners, and I am the new owner as of a year ago. I didn't do such a great job of explaining my story early on of this conversation, but the former owners had a lot of success with print marketing, which still works, especially in certain demographics. And I would say it works for that retiree group, right? So they're marketing to that demographic that would respond well to print. So they had a lot of success with that, with little postcards and things. But it was a lot of word of mouth, a lot of just being established in the community. And that was actually part of why I was interested in the business, because things like the phone line and their reputation in the local community was really important to me when I was relocating. So I started to tell you, but I had relocated after I had gotten married, and so I really wanted to own my own business. I wanted to get do something of my own. I didn't want to work for another individual again, and so I looked at those things when I assessed whether I should be the owner of J&E Business Group. To answer your question further, though, I've really been focused on new ways of marketing and even automation for the business. I've been working on that today. And getting into some trouble with that. However, we have launched LinkedIn campaigns, and we've also been focused on cold email outreach, because I think that a lot of our demographic is using email, maybe not even as much LinkedIn, but the older demographic is definitely using email. And so that's a way that we can reach them. And they might not know that they can sell their company. And so we are having to just be very direct and, ask them if they're looking to sell and if we can help. So those are the methods that have worked for us. We're doing a lot of webinars, podcasts, things like that to inform people about selling.
Oh my, okay. I don't get the opportunity a lot on this podcast to talk about cold outreach. So I hope you won't mind me doubling down on this, because I love this, Kristi. I even get, so I would say maybe 4 to 5 outreach a week, and my co-founder as well. between LinkedIn and email for people interested in buying my company. It
Yeah.
is such a saturated market, and also we understand that most of those people are just like fishing with a very wide net and see what sticks, and they are probably never looked into a company in the first place. But and we've used cold outreach in the past, and we still use it in a way for podcasting. But so, how do you make it work when it comes to M&A? Like how do you make cold outreach work to get someone interested into having a discussion?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different methods. And with AI and everything, it can go terribly wrong and it could be very, very right. Um, but you can use AI to really understand the person that you're speaking to and speak right to them. I think if they see a message that they resonate with, they're more likely to respond. And yes, I too get hundreds of emails from people wanting to handle marketing for me and that sort of thing. But every once in a while, I respond to one or two of them that really resonates with me. So I think that everyone doing it is hoping that they'll be the one that gets responded to. And it's really no different than print campaigns. You get tons of mail, you respond to certain ones that resonate. That's why marketing is important. Um, do you have any other questions about that?
No, I love it. This makes a lot of sense. And I think the takeaway from this, right?
Sure.
And this is something we talk a lot about, is anything can work. I do genuinely believe that anything can work. You just mentioned printing, right? Like mail, sending via the post. Believe it or not, it works.
Yeah.
Sending fax still works. Now,
Yeah.
of course, AI automations will help. Cold outreach can work. YouTube can work. SEO can work. Speaking at conferences can work. Dancing on TikTok can work. Some people make it work. So the point is, anything can work. It just takes much more time and much more effort to make it work than people usually think. And on top of that, you want to bear in mind that the more tailored, the more niche down you are in the first place, the more your message will resonate with the person you're trying to reach, and they are therefore more likely to answer, which is the last point that you made, which I love,
Yeah.
and that I wanted to double down on. Tie all this to revenue for us, Kristi, please. How do you go from all this to a conversation, a sales conversation? An SOW, a letter of engagement, we work on all, we're going to try to find you a buyer, or we're going to try to find you a seller. How does sales motion look like for you?
How does the sales, I'm sorry.
So how do you move from cold outreach, printing, overall brand and network and referrals, right,
Sure.
to a
Yeah.
conversation with the buyer, a conversation with the seller? I'm just interested in
Yeah.
understanding
I I think the relationship is so important. I don't just want to, and I was talking with my team about this the other day because younger and younger generations are fine with having an entire conversation via text, but I am not. I want to talk with somebody. I want to understand their company. So for me, it really looks like understanding from them what's going on in their company. Is it right to sell right now? Do we need to work on an exit strategy? Um, so really hearing them, right? Understanding what needs to be improved, what issues are there going to be when we sell. All of those things are really important, but it just starts with a simple conversation. And I'm usually asking them about their company. And then I'm sharing about our process and what that looks like to them and what it would look like if they came on board and decided to list. So I give them a very high level overview. A lot of times I'm sharing examples of companies that we've sold or are about to sell. So, just being really transparent. But for me, it really is about the relationship, whether I've met them in person or not. I want to take the time to have a conversation.
I love it. And again, this is back to, I'm yet to see, not talking about you specifically here, Kristi, but like professional service firms in general. The one we see and talk to are usually high ticket, right? So I'm yet to see a professional service firm closing high five, six, seven figure deals without having a conversation with the right decision maker first, obviously, but without establishing that trust,
Yeah.
authority, and relationship before
Yeah.
it comes to a deal close. So makes a lot of sense. How do you think about retention, though? because so you come in, you help the buyer and the seller basically find a match, hopefully made in heaven. And then what? Because I mean, eventually a client is going to buy one business in their lifetime, right? Maybe two. Some will go on a rampage, but the vast majority will maybe buy one business, right? So how do you think about retention? How do you, not make the most out of each and every client, but how do you solve the next problem and the next problem, and keep
That's
on.
really interesting. Well, first of all, I have had sellers come back and well, they were buyers the first time and they came back and are selling with us like 10
Smart.
years later, which is awesome. But in terms of retention, here's what I'll say. Um, I would call that word reputation. To me, reputation is everything. So it's very important. And you mentioned trust in that conversation. I need to build trust with all of my clients, buyers and sellers alike, because at the end of the day, I'm bringing two people together and it has to work for both of them. And yes, I work for the seller, but if the buyer's not interested, it's not going to work. And I have to find the right buyer that matches the seller's interests, right? Um, so it's really, I do need to build trust. I need to be responsive. What I've seen in this industry, in the brokerage industry, is people who are not responsive. They maybe will pair a buyer and a seller together, and then they don't engage in the rest of the process, and the deal falls apart. So for me, it is responsiveness, it's engagement the whole way. The whole way. I want to know as much as possible about the deal so that it is successful and we get it all the way to the finish line. And those things, when you do that well and when you treat it like project management, I believe that is when you're going to really see, people coming to you, being referred to you. Retention is also about referrals, I guess. Would you agree with that?
100%. And I didn't think of the repeat business. It's so funny. When you said this, I was thinking of my car dealer. I arrived in the US, I moved in, I got referred to a car dealership who is also like fixing cars. And the guy carved himself a niche, which is French expatriates moving into Houston.
Mhm.
And there is a huge flow of those because you have a few big French companies here. Anyways, and I was like, that's an interesting business model. Like, you're selling me a car, reasonable price whatsoever, blah, blah, blah. He's not making a huge margin on it. But he sold it back. I mean, he sold it 2 years ago to someone else, who then sold it back to this garage guy, and then
Mhm.
sold it to me. And he was like, yeah. So what ends up happening is I have the trust of the French community here. So they arrive, they get referred to me, they come to me, they buy a car, and then when their expired assignment ends, 2 to 3 years from now, they're like, hey, I still have this car. You know it. You've maintained this as well. Do you want it back? And he kind of flipped the car all the way like this. And I was like, this is so smart. And so
Yeah.
in your case, someone buys a business, wants to sell it a few years later once they've done the roll up, right? Once they've actually increased the value of the company. It's interesting. And yeah, at the end of the day, relationships, relationships, relationships.
Yeah.
That's what we're banking on, anyways.
And just
Um,
engagement and care. Care goes a long way.
and I think this is. I don't think consultants and coaches have. I mean, professional services in general have a problem implementing this. I see it in other B2B businesses though, where they're gonna put so much effort in the relationship building before the sale, and then the sale has happened, and it's like, cool, now you figure it out. Whereas,
That's
I mean,
exactly what I mean. I've seen that.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that doesn't work. And that doesn't lead to happy feelings at the end on either side.
So not only do I agree with you, I will even double down and say it depends on the time horizon you have for your business, right? And if you're looking for a quick fix and something like, okay, I'm looking at making a bit of money, and 2 years from now, I know I will be in a completely different space. Anyways, you care less about your relationships. When you're like, no, my goal is to be one of the leader in the space, and I have a time horizon of like 10, 15, 20 years, then I think the way you treat people changes, if it wasn't the case already, and you really start nurturing your relationships long term. Or maybe it's just that people getting into that space are the ones who would nurture relationships in the first place. So is it the chicken, the egg? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
All this to say,
Absolutely.
I vibe with you, Kristi, which is why I'm gonna throw a little bit of a curveball question at you now, if you don't mind.
It's all good.
What's the number one challenge that you have right now? Like, what is the one nut that you're trying to crack that you know once you crack, you take the whole thing to the next level? What would that be for you?
Um, I think the biggest challenge right now is just the bandwidth of all of it. I am juggling a lot of different things, as many new, even though my company had been established, I'm really a new business owner. Um, and I'm making a lot of changes into the future. So I am working on automation and surveying our thousands of buyers to better understand their needs. And I'm also the one responsible for our team and staying, in communication with them. I'm responsible for the marketing. I'm responsible for getting leads and talking with clients and getting people paid and, all of it. So it's just, yeah. And that's what I signed up for. So I'm getting that infrastructure in place. Once I have that complete in a lot of different ways, and I have some lead generation partners in place now. So I am beginning to breathe easier. So I'm excited about the future. But those challenges are just part of what it means to be a business owner today.
Amen to that. On the other side of the coin, what are some of the big opportunities that you see in your space in the next 6 to 12 months that you're looking forward to work on?
Um, So I do, like I just mentioned, I have a new lead generation partner. So I'm excited to see how that works and whether we'll be successful. But it is, there's going to be a lot of focus on that, and a lot of focus on education and webinars. And I'm really excited to see the results of that, because I think it's a almost a one-to-one relationship there, where the more people who know about business brokerage and that that's even an option for small businesses, the more listings we should be able to see, I believe, across the industry.
Kristi May, ladies and gentlemen. Kristi, if people want to find out more about you, see what you do, where should they go?
I would say our website, jebusinessgroup.com.
Pretty straightforward. We will put all the links in the description. I can say one thing for sure, Kristi, is that you've gained at least one new connection on LinkedIn out of this interview. Me, I've just added you. Thank you so much for coming on the Principal Podcast.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Principal Podcast. We hope you've learned valuable lessons and strategies to grow your firm and take your business to the next level. Make sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you're listening to this show so you never miss an episode. To apply and be a guest on the show, click the link in the description. See you next time.